Hello, Block Rocker, back with you with a new review. So, Dune Prophecy. Little disclaimer: I am personal friends with Kevin J. Anderson, and I'm casual friends with Brian Herbert. It's based on this book, and this particular copy, I have all of them, is autographed. Where'd it go? Boy, these pages are tough. There it is. So, bang. Um, so I love these books. So as legend has it, Frank wrote the 6 books, which seem to kind of just stop, right? And you're like, wait. So Frank had plans for a 7th book when he died, and his notes for it were found sometime later. And however it came to be, Brian Herbert was already a writer. He'd already done some books with his dad. And then Kevin J. Anderson was, of course, well known. Their writing style is different than Frank Herbert. Frank is very cerebral, and these guys move a little faster. It's a little, I don't think lighter is the right word, but they move faster. Um, so what they did in preparation is they went back and they wrote the novels leading up to the 7th book. They wrote the novels that um, are about things that were referred to but never explained. So the Butlerian Jihad, the abolition of thinking machines, and that trilogy going back to the beginning, super interesting. And it sets up the Sisterhood of Dune, the Mentats of Dune, the pilots, all of that stuff, the Spicing Guild, all of these things. It sets those things up. And then these later novels each go into the details of how those things developed. And then they wrote other books. They've written, gosh, must be 15, 20 books by now in the space, which is great. It's a very rich universe. Now, this show has had some troubled production history. I think it going back like 4 or 5 years with writers, and then they wanted to get some people in there. Anyhow, they're going for kind of, I mean, what HBO is going for is another Game of Thrones in space. And of course, this predates Game of Thrones. And so I love the idea. It looks great. Denis Villeneuve was supposedly attached to this originally. It looks very much like the universe that he's created. So it looks great. Overall, I really like a lot of the casting. Is it Mark Strong? Let me look here. Yeah, wait. Yeah, Mark Strong is the Emperor. I always liked Mark. Then you got Emily Watson, who I liked her in Serpent Queen. Um, I like Olivia Williams better than Emily. Travis Fimmel, of course, is just so much fun. I like Travis a lot. Now, here's where the challenge comes in. They jump around a lot, and they never establish anything. I don't know who I care about. I don't know what it's going to follow. The Emperor doesn't feel like an emperor of the universe. This is the problem with the first time they made Dune into a movie. It felt very small. I mean, it looks much better than that. And Mark Strong is a great presence, but this comes down to the script and maybe a little bit of the direction. But it was the choices that they made in how they did this. I mean, if Valia Harkonnen is so the thing is, if you watched the Dune movies, if that's all you know, then you know Harkonnen bad, Atreides good. And they try to explain all of these other books in the first couple of minutes, and it doesn't do it justice. And then they jump around between too many storylines, some of which are completely pointless. I mean, there's a scene at going to the spice bar that looks like something from the Sci-Fi Channel, from the show Krypton or something. It's just bad. It's a waste of time. It's not the Dune universe. We don't care about it. What would have worked better, and maybe they'll do it in the later episodes. I will watch this whole thing. I want it to do well because I want them to make more of these. But had they just spent their time on Valia Harkonnen and the Sisterhood and more of the development there, and then basically establish 2 things, that and the Emperor, and just keep those stories tight, and give you some people that you care about and you want to know more about them. They broke canon, I don't know, 2, 3 times in the first, 10 minutes. The character that Travis Fimmel is playing, I love the guy as an actor. He's so fun. Um, and I like him here, but he's an invented character, and I don't understand what they're doing with him. So a little bit frustrating. I mean, try it for yourself. Like I say, it's tough. I don't know if Kevin wants to hear my opinion on it or not. I'm sure he probably secretly agrees with parts of it. But I did talk to a friend of mine who also is friends with Kevin last night. We discussed the show. And while he agreed with my points, he didn't agree with my um, conclusion to my points. He thought it was great that they were jumping around like that. So I guess to each their own. I've seen a few reviews and they tend to agree with me. So there you go. It's a little bit of a mixed bag. If you don't know Dune at all, I would love to hear your thoughts watching this. Well, it's like with the Foundation series. I felt very similar the way they bounced around and broke canon, and I only sort of grudgingly watch that show because it's so wrong from the books. And I don't know why you would do that. Just follow the books or make a different show, because you've made something that's so complex that people who aren't familiar with it can't get into it. And the people who are familiar with it are annoyed because of the changes. Anyhow, there we go.